guys, welcome back to my channel. Sorry about missing last week's video. I'm gonna try to be fairly regular about posting these, but since it is November and it is NaNoWriMo, I might miss a few this month. But today I have a quick haul for you. I told myself that I wasn't going to buy more books this year because I already kind of have my schedule for the year planned out because of the 50 book reading challenge that I'm still technically trying to do. So if I actually want to finish the 50 book reading challenge on time, I have 10 books left and 7 weeks. So I'm gonna have to kind of get a move on that one. But, you know, these things happen, so let's just walk through what went on. So the first thing that happened was that Barnes & Noble tricked me by giving me a 20% off coupon. So I ended up placing a 3-book order. The first book of those was The Trader Baru Cormorant by Seth Dickinson, which I had heard a lot about. I'd had a lot of people recommend me. Okay, by I heard a lot about it, I just mean a lot of people were talking about how good it was on Twitter. I don't really know that much about the actual plot of it, except that it has to do with some geopolitical struggles, and I think the main character, it's called the Trader Baru Cormorant because Baru, I guess, is how that's pronounced. She basically ended up working for the empire that took over her homeland, and so she's considered a traitor by her own people, but it seems like she might be sort of trying to work to underline the empire's ruling. I don't know yet. I haven't even started it. All I know is that everyone that's read it has said that it's fantastic. The next one on here is a YA, which is called An Infinite Number of Parallel Universes. This is a, I believe, contemporary or at least set in the real world story about a group of friends who have bonded over Dungeons and Dragons, and it's sort of about, you know, their coming of age and the different struggles that they're all dealing with, and various things like someone's parents is getting a divorce, someone is realizing that they're gay and their church is, you know, having a problem with it, and there's different situations that they all have, but they end up sort of going on a road trip together, and I think it's about sort of them growing up and realizing how their friendships are gonna work and stuff. I think they're all in senior year, so I think they're gonna be going to college soon. Anyway, it just seemed sweet and, you know, kind of nerdy, and the tagline is, "In real life, you need real friends." I just thought it seemed, you know, fun and cute. And then the last book of that particular order was City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. Again, this is one that was recommended to me through Twitter. I don't really know much about it, but everyone that read it was saying that it was fantastic. Apparently the world building is really good. I don't know anything about the world building, really, except that it's something about this city that used to have these gods, and the gods are gone now, so the city has kind of fallen into ruin, but I don't really know. However, it claims to be a spy novel, and mixed fantasy and spy novel, those are kind of two great tastes that taste great together for me personally, so I'm pretty excited about it, particularly if the world building is really good. So after that order, I was like, okay, you really need to stop buying books for this month. Obviously that didn't happen. So what happened next was I was meeting my family for dinner, and I got to the restaurant early, about like 15 minutes early, just because that was the way that public transit worked out, and it turns out no one was there yet, and the restaurant that my mom had picked was 2 doors down from a used bookstore. So, 3 more books. First one is one that I have been waiting for a very long time, which is Winter by Marissa Meyer. This is the 4th and final book of the Lunar Chronicles, which started with Cinder and then progressed with Scarlet and then Cress. This series is fairly popular, so you might already know what this is, but if you don't, it is a YA series that is a futuristic sci-fi fairy tale retelling of, the first one is Cinderella, and then Scarlet is Little Red Riding Hood, Cress is Rapunzel, and then the 4th one, Winter, is Sleeping Beauty. Obviously you can tell by the apple on the cover. And this series is not like the best I've ever read, but I've been reading it since before it came out because I was given an advanced reader copy of Cinder like 6 months before the book was even released, and so I finished it really quickly just, you know, because I didn't really have much else to read at the time, and they do go really fast. They are a fun, engaging read. And I finished the first book and went, oh, wait, I have literally no one to talk about this series with because the first book hasn't even come out yet. So this has been a long time coming that the 4th book is finally out. She was releasing them once a year, and then last year, instead of releasing Winter, she released this prequel book called Ferris, Fairest, rather, which was about the, like, evil queen, and I'm just like, I don't care about the evil queen, I just want winter, so I actually haven't even read Fairest. But the point is, the fourth book is finally here. I'm gonna be reading it for the 50 book reading challenge for the book that's longer than 500 pages, so hopefully I will get through it very soon. I'm actually kind of hopeful about how this is gonna wrap up, because one of the things that I was noticing is because each new addition to the series was adding an additional heroine, it sort of felt like they were kind of being stretched a little too thin. Like, you know, Cinder's storyline kind of stalls out in books 2 and 3 for a little while we try to catch up with these other girls that we, you know, are being introduced to. And so it sort of felt like the book was being hindered by its own, like, shortness, because there wasn't enough time to really progress all these different storylines that she had set up in the previous books. And so the fact that this is like over 800 pages makes me think that maybe it'll actually wrap up in a way that's satisfying, so we'll see. I have started it, but I haven't gotten very far. I'm only on like chapter 6, and so I'm on page like 50 of 800 something, so yeah, I've got a ways to go on this one, but this was Winter by Marissa Meyer, the fourth and final book of the Lunar Chronicles. But of course, I can't go into a bookstore and only buy one thing, so I also got The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han, which is an author that I have read before. I read, over here somewhere. So previously this year I read To All the Boys I've Loved Before and P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han, and I really enjoyed both of them. I thought that they were very sweet. The protagonist reads fairly young, like she's 16, but she reads as a fairly young 16, and I think that maybe kind of bothered some people, but I thought that it was really genuine, like the way that she was young, and it sort of made me feel like how I had felt when I was 16 in a lot of ways, so I enjoyed them. I thought that they, you know, weren't the best I've ever read, but I thought that they were very sweet and very, like, kind of charming, and I'd heard a lot about this novel, so I decided, what the hell, go ahead and pick it up. And I'm about halfway through it. It's about, as you know, you can probably sort of guess from the title, The Summer I Turned Pretty. It is about a girl who, in her 16th summer of visiting this beach house, is finding that, you know, the way that she feels and the way that people are reacting to her is really different than all of the previous summers that she had been going. And the setup to this basically is that her mom is visiting her childhood best friend every summer at the best friend's house. And her mom's friend has these two boys, and they're sort of similar in age to the main character and her brother. And they've been going for a really, really long time, and she's had this crush on the older boy for forever. And so it's sort of about her sort of coming into herself, and it tells a lot of flashbacks of previous summers since they have been going for so long. And I'm enjoying it. It's a fairly easy read, it's fairly quick, but it does kind of have that truth about what it's like to be not only the youngest, but also the only girl in a group of kids that where the rest of them are boys, and also they're older than you, and the way that you can be so excluded, and the way that you can like desperately want to fit in, but not but like you also sort of know that it's never going to happen. And so it interacts with that way where you can be sort of pulled between these two urges of like one is trying to fit in anyway, and the other is a rejection of their society because you know you're not going to fit in anyway. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm about halfway through it. It probably won't take me very long to finish. The final book that I picked up while I was in that bookstore was Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This is a Gothic romance, which I picked up because I have read some Gothic romances before, but I haven't read any in a while. And when I saw Crimson Peak about a few weeks ago, it kind of solidified my love of Gothic romances, and I remembered why I love them and how absolutely crazy they are, and it was just great. And so I decided that it was time to go ahead and read another one, and I had kept hearing about Rebecca. It's one where the title comes up a lot in discussions of Gothic romance. I've already read Jane Eyre, and I have already read another Gothic by Anne Radcliffe called A Sicilian Romance, I think. This was in college, so I don't remember. Anyway, I'm very familiar with the sort of trappings of the Gothic romance, but I haven't read this one in particular, so figured, why not? So after that sort of unplanned excursion into the bookstore, I was like, okay, you're really done. Like, you need to stop buying books for this month. Like, really, that's it. And then, okay, so I was hanging out with some friends last night, and we got to talking about books, like you do, and we were talking about, you know, our personal tastes and what we really like in books and what can sort of put us off of books, and I was recommending things to my friends, and one of my friends basically pulled a book off the shelf and he gave it to me and he said, you really should read this. I think based on your own tastes and everything that you've just said, I really think you should read this. And I was like, okay, but also I kind of have my reading planned out for the rest of the year already, and they obviously weren't surprised by this. And then we went out to dinner and there was a used bookstore right near it, and they went in for some other things, and that book that he'd recommended was there in like the little mass market paper. I got the book. Okay, like I got the book. And it was called The Mirror Empire, The Worldbreaker Saga, Book 1. It is by Cameron Hurley. It has a blurb by Kate Elliott on it, who is one of my favorite authors. And I don't know a ton about it, except that it is a fantasy series where apparently the author decided to like completely break down the social structures of like our world and completely rebuild them so that they're like not even recognizable, and it's like completely matriarchal, and it just seems really cool. So yeah, I don't know when I'll get to this, since again I kind of have my reading planned out for the rest of the year, but it's now on the list. And apparently it seems really cool, so we'll see. I don't think anyone else has been talking about this book except my friend who handed it to me and was like, no, trust me, you need to read this book. So we'll see what happens, but it is The Mirror Empire by Cameron Hurley. It is about apparently an area that has like regular catastrophic extinction events, kind of similar to the 5th season actually. Which is the N.K. Jemisin book I talked about a little while ago. But it looks like possibly one of those catastrophic events is coming, and there's a lot of like civil unrest that's happening, and there might be some sort of spy elements to it, or at least some sort of like court intrigue stuff, which is always great for me. And some stuff about, you know, empires, and do you follow your people or do you follow your empire, and you know, it's seems like something that, yeah, I probably would like. So I'm gonna be trying this soon, and I will let you guys know how it goes. So that is it for my November book haul. Not too bad, but definitely more than I was supposed to. Yeah, I was really not supposed to get like most of those, but what can I say? I just really like books, and I really like buying books, and I don't have any shelf space left at all. In fact, I have a like tub of books that is just sitting on the floor right down here that is just like filled with books that won't fit on my shelf. This tub is about to be full. Yeah, I have a problem. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys very soon with another video. Bye! And if you like causing trouble up in hotel rooms, and if you like having secret little rendezvous, if you like to do the things you know that we shouldn't do, baby, I'm perfect. Baby, I'm perfect for you. Come the fuck on. There we go.